Hello, this is Narain Domestic Motor Controller Model DMC SP. This can be used for all sorts of single phase borewell starters from 1 HP to 5 HP. And adding this particular product to the existing starter would provide the existing starter with the digital overload relay, digital dry run relay, that is whenever the motor runs without water, it will just turn off the motor. Then it offers two different types of timer. The first type of timer is called as off timer, wherein you just set the time and turn on the motor and the motor switches off after the set time. And the second type of timer is called as cyclic timer. Cyclic timer, you can set the on time and off time, wherein the motor periodically turns on and off based on the set timings. We will be explaining that in detail in the video later. Then along with that, it also offers the digital voltmeter and ammeter, and you can see all the parameters on the LCD. On top of all the said features, it also offers the tank full off option. That is, whenever the sensors are connected to the overhead tank or the sump where the water fills up, whenever the water fills up the tank, that is when the motor is switched off, because there is no more requirement of the water. So all these features are inculcated in this one simple product, which can be used for all the existing starters available in the stores. So we will quickly run through the connections of this particular product, and to demonstrate the connections, we've made use of Narain analog control starter model SPRG. So when it comes to the connections, the connectors are provided at the bottom of the DMC SP. So the first two connectors are the incoming 220 volt supply. So before that, we can have a look at the connectors to the starter. The starters will have its own connectors as the incoming. These are the load carrying wires, the phase and neutral wire, and then there will be three motor cables again. So the incoming phase and neutral or the auxiliary supply to the Narain DMC SP can be taken from the same point where you had taken the input for the starter. So we can take the phase and neutral from these 2 points itself. So to connectors number 1 and 2. Then you have connectors 3, 4, 5, 6, which are connected in parallel to the start or the on push button. So we will quickly have a look at how to make that connections. So if you can have a look at the on button or the start push button, you can have a look behind it. So it will have two different elements. So one element is marked in green and the second element is marked in black in this start push button. The colors may vary, but all the start buttons will definitely have two elements, and each element will have its own set of connectors. So the green element has its own set of connectors and the black element has its own set of connectors. So one will be the coil element and the other one will be the capacitor element. Okay, so we will take a set of wires from 3 and 4. We have taken black colored wires and we are going to connect that in parallel to the black element of the start push button. Okay, it can either be any one of the element. So one set of wires will go to the one of the element of the start push button. Then you take another set of wires. We've taken green color wires from connectors 5 and 6 and are connecting that to the second element. So we've connected that to the green color element here. So all these wires 3, 4, 5, 6 should be on top of the existing wiring, and you need not remove any of the old wires. Okay, so this is called as parallel connection. And again 3, 4, 5, 6, it doesn't matter even if they interchange, but please make sure 3, 4 are connected to one set of elements and 5 and 6 are connected to the other set of elements. Then we are left with connectors 7 and 8. This should be connected in series with the stop or off push button of the starter. So this is how the off push button looks like, and you can have a look behind the off push button. This is how the connections would be. So a series connection is pretty simple. What you need to do is a wire which is going to the stop push button. This was the wire which was going to the stop push button. You will have to remove this wire which was going to the stop push button, and the removed wire should be connected to connector number 8 here. So we have taken the red wire. Again, you can just have a look here. This was the wire which was going to the stop push button. We have removed that wire and connected the same wire to connector number 8. And you will have to take a new wire from connector number 7 and connecting it back to the point where you had removed the existing wiring. So this point, I repeat again, the wire which was connected to the off push button has to be removed and to be connected to connector number 8. A new wire should be taken from connector number 7 and connected back to the same point where you had earlier removed the wire from the stop push button, this point. Okay. So this is what we call as series connection. Once that connection is done, then we are left with the connections for the CT. So DMC SP is comes with a CT which looks something like this. So what you need to do is a phase wire which is going inside the starter, which is going as the input to the starter, should be passed through this CT. So CT, as you can see, has a hole. You just need to pass the wire inside the hole, and the CT also has two wires. So it will have one hole and two wires. So the load wire should be passed through the hole, and the two wires, which are yellow and green here, should be connected to the CT points of the DMC SP, that is these 2 points. Okay. So this is very important because this is where the product gets the current readings from. Okay, this is the connection. Then we are just left with the last two connectors, which are provided to connect the sensors, the water sensors. So this is an optional thing. So whenever you require the product to turn off when the tank fills up, that is when you are supposed to connect this. We will quickly have a look at the connections. So let us assume this is the height of the tank. This is the height of the tank. It can be either tank or some, depends on wherever you are pumping the water from the borewell. So let us assume it is a tank, and let us say this is the height of the tank. The first set of sensor, you will have two set of sensors, two sensors, one set actually. The first sensor should be placed at the bottommost point, that is, so let us assume this is the floor of the tank. So this has to be placed at the bottommost point, and the wire which is coming out of this sensor should be connected to common point, that is this one. Okay. Then you will have to place another sensor, the next set of sensor, the next sensor, which is, so let us assume this is the height. So this goes at the bottommost point, and the second sensor should be connected at the top point. So meaning whenever the water hits this sensor mark, that is when the motor switches off. So this is that level where you want the motor to turn off. So a wire which is coming out of this sensor should be placed to the high point of the connector. Okay. This is just simple connections. You have to just connect two sensors. So connecting these sensors will just allow the motor to turn off when the tank is full. So that is again optional. So this is about the connections. So then we will quickly look about the working. So I'll just be powering up the system. So once the system is powered up, you need to turn on the on button here. You have the on and off switch. You'll have to turn it on. You can see the LCD. So LCD has these parameters. The first thing it reads is the voltage. This is the incoming supply voltage for the connectors 1 and 2. Then it has L and H. L is the dry run setting and H is the overload setting. Then on the second line you can see the current drawn by the motor. Okay. So right now the motor is off, and therefore it reads 00 here. So a quick overview of the settings. So you will just have to turn on the motor and see the load taken by the motor on the second line of the display. If it is a 2 HP motor, for example, a 2 HP motor will draw around 12 ampere load here. So based on this current, you will have to make the settings for the L and H. So usually when the motor takes around 12 ampere, L should be set to 2 numbers below that value, and H should be set to 2 numbers above that value. So if it is 12 amperes which is taken by the motor, H should be set to 12 plus 2, which is 14, and L should be set to 12 minus 2, which is 10. So whenever the current drawn by the motor goes below the set L value, that is 10 in this example, so that is when the motor switches off in around 10 seconds time, stating the reason as dry run. Similarly, whenever the current drawn by the motor goes above the set H value, which is the overload limit, we can set that to 12. So whenever that goes above the H value, that is when the motor turns off because of overloading. So the tripping time is again around 15 seconds for overload trip. So in order to set H and L, you can make use of the knobs provided. H can be set using the green color knob. So placing the tester on this knob and rotating on the left hand side will decrease the H value, which you can notice here. This is just the one time setting. So whatever number you want to, you can. So rotating on the right hand side or the clockwise direction will increase the value. So whatever value you want to set, you'll have to set it for the very first time. So if it is taking around 12 ampere, you will have to set H to 12 plus 2, which is around 14 ampere. Okay. Then you will, in order to set the L value, you can make use of the navy blue color pot here, potentiometer. You can just rotate the knob on the right hand side. You can see the value of L increasing. So you can set to whatever value you want. So if the motor is taking around 12, it will be 12 minus 2, which is 10, which what you'll have to set the L value. This is just the one time setting which has to be done the very first time. then you need not worry about these settings. So then right now the product is in the cutoff mode. So if you want to set the off time, so you can see this part of the LCD which is empty, and this white color knob is used to set the off time. So placing the tester here and rotating on the right, you can see the numbers inside the bracket. The maximum rotation will lead to number 120, which is 120 minutes or 2 hours. And if you rotate it completely on the left hand side, these numbers will disappear, meaning the motor will not switch off until you manually switch it off. So you can set the convenient time here. If you are using the motor for around 20 minutes time, you can just set it to 20. So setting it to 20, and in this cutoff mode you will have to manually turn on the motor, and after the set time is complete, the motor will automatically switch off, and then the next turning on should be manual by the user. This is the off timer mode. And anyways, within that time, if the motor runs dry, the motor switches off, and if the motor takes in more load, again it will be tripped. And then if the overhead tank fills up, even then the motor switches off. This is the advantage of this particular mode. So in the cutoff mode, if you want to switch on the motor, you will have to make use of this black color switch which is provided on the product. So the same switch will double as both on button and off button. So pressing this when the motor is off will turn on the motor, and when the motor is running, if you again press the switch, that is when the motor switches off. I'll be turning on the motor. So you can see the contactor latching for the 3 seconds and releasing. So this is the start capacitor thing. So then when the motor starts to run, you can see the load taken by the motor on the second line. So the motor which I am using is a half HP motor which is drawing around 3 to 4 ampere load. So then you can see a new set of numbers here rest outside the brackets which says 000. This is the elapsed time or the run time. So you've set the off time to be 21 minutes, and this is the run time. So motor just turned on, and it has not even been 1 minute since the motor switched on. So after the the time becomes 1 minute, this gets incremented to 1, and after 2 minutes it will get incremented to 2. So as on, you can just make use of these numbers to see how many minutes the motor has been running since. And whenever these two values become equal, that is when the motor switches off. And when the motor turns off because of the completion of the set time, the display reads time out on the second line, just for you to know that the motor has completed the set time. Okay, so this is about the cutoff mode. Okay, so then in the cutoff mode, if you wish to turn off the motor manually before the time is complete, you can always press the same button. So the motor just switched off pressing that button. So this is about the cutoff mode. So if you want to change to the cyclic timer mode, so before that we will first try to understand what cyclic timer is. A cyclic timer is a pretty effective timer wherein you will set the on time and off time. I'll explain that by giving you an example. So let us assume on time is set for 30 minutes and off time is set for 4 hours. Okay, this is how the cyclic timer functions. The motor switches on and it will run for the set on time, which is 30 minutes. After the on time 30 minutes is complete, the motor switches off. Once the motor switches off, it will enter the off time, which is set to 4 hours. The motor will then wait for the 4 hours time. After waiting for the set off time, the motor will again switch to the on time, where it will again turn on, and it will run for the next 30 minutes. So this cycle keeps on repeating whenever the power supply is present, meaning you can set the on time and off time. The cyclic timer can be made use in the cases wherein the yield is less in the borewell. So suppose if you just have if your borewell pumps the water only for 10 minutes, you can set the on time to be 10 minutes, and the recharge time which is required, maybe 4 hours or 5 hours, can be set as off time. So once every recharge is complete, the motor will be triggered to switch on, and it can pump out the water which is collected. So that is case number 1. And then in domestic households, you will be knowing how long you will be requiring to run the motor. Suppose if you are running the motor once in a day or twice in a day, you can always set that time. So you can set the on time to be around whatever time you want the motor to run, 20 minutes or 30 minutes. And the off time will be the waiting time, which if you want the motor to turn on for twice in a day, it will be 12 hours, or once in a day it will be 24 hours, and so on. So cyclic timer has various uses which can be explored when you are using the product. So in order to switch to the cyclic timer mode, what you need to do is, you can notice the buttons which are right below these, the black switch buttons. These are the cyclic timer buttons. So what you need to do to change the mode is, you will have to turn off the device. by switching it off. So then you will have to press and hold the first and the last button, the last two buttons, and then power off the system. So I'm powering off the system. You can enter the settings mode by doing this. So it says cutoff timer in the first line. So pressing the overload button or the increase button here will say will change it to cyclic timer mode. Again, pressing this will again revert back to the cutoff timer mode. Cutoff timer is what we saw now. Now we'll have to change it to the cyclic timer mode. So this is the cyclic timer which I'm going to explain. So once the mode is set, you need not worry about the second line. So once the mode is set, you will again have to press OK. That is the center button. So pressing that will save the settings. So yeah, we will quickly have a look at the display now. So in the cyclic timer mode, you will have two different sorts of displays which are scrolling every 5 seconds. This is the new display which you can see. So apart from the older one which reads the voltage. So I will say two screens. This is the voltage screen and that is the timer screen. So this is the voltage screen and the second screen which shows up is the timer screen. So this is the timer screen. Okay, so in timer screen you can read the set on time and off time. On time is in the first line and off time is in the second line. So this is in this pattern: hours, minutes and seconds. So if you can just read the on time and off time now, it will be hours 0 minutes 1, similarly hours 0 minutes 1 and 00 seconds for both. So here the off time is set to 1 minute and on time is again set to 1 minute. The first line is the on time and the second line is the off time. Both are set to 1 minute each, meaning the motor will turn on for 1 minute and then switch off. Then after that it will wait for the off time, which is again 1 minute, and then again it will switch on. So meaning the motor will run for 1 minute and wait for 1 minute. That is what the setting currently now is. If you want to increase the setting, what you need to do is, so I'll just switch off the motor. So if you want to change the setting anytime, so in order to enter the cyclic timer setting menu, you will have to press the center button. So pressing the center button will take you to the setting, right? So in the setting menu, this is how the cursor blinks. The first line will read out on T, which is the on time. It can be increased by pressing the right button and decreased by pressing the left button. So pressing the right button will increase the seconds. Pressing and holding it for a long time will allow the timings to run. It is now set to 10 minutes of on time. Similarly, if you want to set the off time, you will press the OK button. The cursor moves to the second line. Again, if you want to increase the number, you will be pressing and holding this. Pressing and holding this for a long time will, yeah. So now you can see the off time to be set to 17 minutes. So similarly, you can decrease the time by pressing this button, increase the time by pressing this button. So whatever time it is set to 10 minutes of on time and 17 minutes of off time. Again, you'll have to press OK in order to save the settings. So on time and off time has been saved. So you can just have a look at the timer screen now. It says 10 minutes of on time and 17 minutes of off time, and right now the timer is in off mode, and this is the time. 1 minute and 6 seconds is the time since it entered the off time. Okay, so now in the cyclic mode, what happens is you can switch on the motor again by pressing the same button. If at all, if you want to switch from the off cycle to on cycle, you can press the switch. The motor immediately switches to the on cycle. Similarly, if you want to switch from on cycle to off cycle, you will again be pressing the same button. Okay, so now we'll be switching to the on cycle. So it has been in off mode, and 1 minute 36 seconds is what it is there in the off mode since. Pressing this and holding this will immediately switch to the on cycle and switch on the motor. The motor just switched on. You can have a look at the timer screen now. The timer screen will read 10 minutes and 17, and the motor is in on mode and it just started. It's been 12 seconds since the motor started. Okay, again we will, yeah, it has been 18 seconds or 20 seconds since the motor has started, and the motor currently is in on mode. So this is how the cyclic timer operates. Anytime when you come in front of the display, you can read the current mode and also the time at which it is in the current mode since. This is pretty much about the cyclic timer. So when in the cyclic timer mode and when the motor is running, if the tank fills up for some reason, you can just have a look. If the tank fills up for some reason, you can see the motor switching off, and the reason for turn off will be shown on the second line of the LCD. So you can read the reason for tripping on the second line. So this is the timer screen, and when it switches back to the regular voltage screen, that is when you can see it says tank full off. So this is the reason for tripping. And then we will quickly have a look at the overload and dry run tripping. I just turned on the motor manually now. So if you want to, yeah, and one more thing, in the manual mode, this off timer, sorry, in the cyclic timer mode, the off timer will not function because we are in the cyclic timer mode. Okay, suppose so we have just created a dry run condition now. You will see how it trips. We've set L to 11 and the motor is drawing 4 amperes. So the current drawn by the motor is lesser than the set L value. So that is the reason why you can see this on light blinking. It blinks for around 10 seconds and then switches off the motor. So once the motor turns off, you can see the reason for trip on the second line, similar to the one you saw a tank full of. The motor just turned off, and if you want to see the reason for turning off, so it can be seen on the second line now. So yeah, so the timer mode. So once the motor switches off, the timer will be to the off mode, and it will again turn on after the set time. So now this is where you can see on the second line it says dry run. So this is the reason for tripping previously, and it has been 19 seconds since the motor switched off, and the motor will be turned on again after the 17 minutes time after the off time. So this is pretty much about the dry run tripping. Similarly, when the motor draws in more current than the set H value, the motor turns off because of overloading, and the reason for trip will be displayed on the LCD. I hope the product operation is understood, and if you have any queries, you can always reach us out on www.narayanelectrics.in, or you can even contact us on our telephone number, which is 9972243774. I repeat, it's 9972243774. And I just want to add one more thing. So what if at all you don't want this whole device to function, you can always switch it off, and even then you can turn on the motor manually, and switching off the device will still allow you to operate the starter manually. So just in case of a failure or some issues with the product, if you want to troubleshoot, you can always without changing any connections, you'll just be turning off the switch, and you can still continue to operate the starter manually. Yeah, I hope everything is clear. Please feel free to contact us on 9972243774 if you have any further queries, or if you are interested to buy this product. Thanks for watching this video.